is it much different being a community leader and a superintendent? I said, yes, because when you're a superintendent, you have positional authority. When you're in a room of pastors, when you're in a room of businesses, none of them are contractually obligated to you.
To listen to you.
And they're all leaders in their own right. Can you lead when they're not required to follow you? And I think that's the difference between being a community leader and an organizational leader.
Welcome back to another episode of The Path Forward. As always, I'm your host, Dr. Rick Fernandez. We're here in San Antonio, TexEdCon 24. I've got a first-time guest, somebody I've admired from afar for quite some time, Superintendent Temple ISD, Dr. Bobby Ott. Dr. Ott, thank you for joining me.
You bet. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for having me, and I'm just grateful to be part of it.
So for those that may not know a lot about Temple, tell us a little bit about your school district, your community, and just why Temple for you?
Sure. I've been asked that a lot. Why are you staying in Temple? Why don't you go for a bigger job or something like that? So Temple is a community of 8,800 students, and we're growing, which is wonderful. We have not grown until 2018. We hadn't grown for 36 years. And so we are growing. We are a heavy business and industry community and so for a district our size, that is very uncommon. Most districts our size are called bedroom communities. They may have strip malls, strip centers, banks, construction firms, but we have really big multi-million, billion-dollar businesses in our community. And so that is the community flavor of it. District-wise, we are a district that looks nothing like any district that touches our borders. We have more poverty. We're at 76% free and reduced students, lunch or low socioeconomic students. We have 47% Hispanic in our district. We have 23% African American, 22% Anglo. And so every district around us is certainly less disadvantaged than we are, and less diverse, but I'll tell you, that is a point of pride for us. It really is. I think that type of environment with economic range and ethnic range, you have some real opportunity to grow as a student and in the teaching and learning process.
So I mean, Superintendent, you're highly celebrated. You've been very successful. Why Temple for you?
I think that, and I tell people this that are aspiring to be superintendents, I think that what's more important than the job or the contract is the match. And for me, Temple has become that match. My entire career, if you look at my resume until I got to Temple, it looks a little bit like a gypsy. I was somewhere 3 years, do some change stuff, and then go on.
Football coaching resume.
Yes, absolutely. And I used to be a coach.
Me too, basketball.
Yeah. But Temple has really grabbed my heart because it feels like a match. And the reason it feels like a match is because it's the combination of the students that we serve. So that requires a level of compassion, but then having the businesses that we have in the community not only provides resources, but there's an expectation for innovation. So I believe for me, the way I'm wired, if you have the two ingredients that are needed of compassion and innovation, it's a perfect match for me. And so that's why I haven't left. I really love our kids. I know their families. I know it's a big district, fairly good sized district, but I know them by name, our staff, and it's just very personal to me there.
I love it. We were talking a little bit about CTE. You mentioned innovation. Share a little bit about that within Temple ISD. You guys are doing some exciting things, and that's my passion. So talk to us about your programming, what you're doing, and how you're innovating for students.
Sure. Well, you can't have a one-size-fits-all delivery model in Temple because of our range. And being in a heavy business and industry community, there's a real expectation that we have students that come out ready to work with industry-level certifications. When you think about our students' income level, the three closest four-year universities are all private. UMHB, Baylor, and Southwestern and Georgetown. You're talking $36,000 plus a year for our students. So the ability to work so they can help themselves get through school, especially if they want to stay home, that was the focus of a bond that we passed in 2015. It was 36 million of it. The line share was for a new CTE center.
Nice.
And we offer 14 of the 15 tracks. The only one we don't offer is energy. But the best part about the CT facility, it's not the facilities or the equipment facilities, even though those are incredible. It's that we had a CT advisory group. I'm an educator. I don't know what a health profession space is supposed to look like.
Right.
I don't know what a welding space is supposed to look like. But we have so many experts in our community. So they helped us design, and they donated equipment. They were part of this. So we have places that rival, and in some cases are even better than business industry places to work, and our students are training in them. So that was the first thing we did, is develop that in terms of innovation. And then the second thing I'll just tell you that has really brought this to life, we had a vision for the CTE center that it wasn't a training center, that it was a service center. So we do tax returns, we do cosmetology services, we do animal vet services, we work on your cars, we do all that for the community so our students can learn the soft skills required.
Man, that's I have never heard it phrased that way.
That was our vision, and I really believe. Can I call you Rick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Rick, I really believe that's what's been so transformational, because if you go to we have a menu of services for all of our programs that's just incredible. So our community is engaging with our students, and our students are learning how to do that, instead of being plugged into a device all the time. They're understanding that piece, and they're coming out more road ready with a competitive advantage, and they're earning college credit also, because we have a lot of college partners that are doing dual credit through that program. But we want to serve the community. We don't just want to train kids. And we reframed that whole piece. We branded it for the community, and that has been a game changer for Temple.
I love that mentality, because you are absolutely right. The more we plug in kids early into the actual space that they're going to be working, the better off they're going to be, the better opportunities. And I would argue, tell me if you agree with this, as we talk about vouchers and all the things that can come from the legislation, I believe that the way to solve that is if schools are so intertwined with industry and we're doing a great job of solving workforce and they're pouring back in, then there's no need to even worry about vouchers or privates,
Right.
because the people that are making a lot of the decisions it's a true pipeline for workforce.
Right.
I love what y'all are doing, and the innovative spirit to have not only a great facility, but to have its services where everybody can take part. That's what districts should be doing.
Yeah.
That is absolutely unbelievable.
That was our focus. We wanted a menu of services in every single department. So if you take floral, for example, our kids are making floral arrangements for folks in retirement homes. I mean, we're trying to identify services that we can provide the community at low cost, in some cases free. We'll have a free pet spa day or something, where they're using a point of sale system. They're coming in, there's a foyer that they're waiting, just like a customer. And we're doing that. We're trying to do it in every single program that we have.
That's outstanding. Switching gears to leadership, I read a quote and it kind of hit me on the nose a little bit. And essentially, you use the baseball reference, and as a superintendent in leadership, you don't always have to hit a home run. Everything doesn't have to hit a home run, but the consistency of a high batting average. Dive into that perspective a little bit, if you don't mind.
I've had the chance to not only learn from a lot of mentors, but also to serve as a mentor, either officially or unofficially, to many superintendents. And oftentimes I can see, and this has happened to me, this fret over this one decision. And it's like, if I'd just done this, I could have threaded the needle, I could have hit it out of the ballpark. And the more I've thought about the decisions that I have made in my life, and obviously, not all of them have worked out the way I wanted them to, but I thought, I think if I can look at this less like hitting a home run and more like having a high batting average, if I'm faced with 150 decisions in the next 5 hours, if I can have a high batting average, then I think I will be putting people in the right position to be successful more times than not. So I think that's really the best way to look at it. And where it was brought home to me was COVID, because when you think about having a high batting average, it means that there are certain pitches that you recognize.
Sure.
I don't think any superintendent recognized the COVID pitch. And so effectively, nobody had a high batting average during that time. Nobody was hitting a home run right out of the gate. Nobody had a playbook right away. And so going into that with the mindset that, hey, I'm going to look at every pitch. I may not hit it the first time, but man, if I could hit it the next one and the one after that, I can keep a high batting average for my community and my kids and those I'm responsible for. And the other part of that is you can have a high batting average by working with people that are going through pitches and explaining them to you, and you don't have to go through them yourself.
Yeah.
When I'm talking to superintendents and I'm listening to what they're dealing with in their batter's box, I don't have to deal with that all the time if I can problem solve with them. I can come in a little more experienced. Maybe I have an idea of the pitch before it's actually pitched to me. So I don't know. I just think that's a better philosophy. It's a little less pressure, and I think it's a higher success rate.
Yeah, because you do feel, and I guess I'm speaking for myself, I felt the need to make an immediate impact in some way, right? And in all transparency, if I want to always own what I need to get better at, what I didn't do, and understand when things go not like I plan or not like I want them to. And one of the things I would say with first-year superintendents is spot on. Everything doesn't have to be a home run. Sometimes it's slow, steady, learn, listen, and consistency.
Right.
What's the advice you give to superintendents that are about to, or aspiring superintendents that are going to take the seat in this era of education, the politics, just kind of the climate? What advice do you give them?
Well, I tell them that it's very important to always have the ability to look inside the organization at the trees, but to be able to look outside at the forest. And you have to have both views. I see a lot of superintendents, and they're very good organizational leaders, but they may not be community leaders.
Mm-hmm.
I think nowadays you really need to be a community leader too, because these issues are so pervasive. They're talked about everywhere. Almost every social issue you can think of is in the public schools, just like it's outside the public schools. And then this idea of marketing and competitive, public schools, sure, they're the default for 5.5 million children, but there are other options out there too. And so you need to make sure that your community is well informed, that you have a seat at the table, whether it's the Economic Development Corporation, the workforce, the chamber board, what have you, so you can parlay as many resources to your kids as possible. So that's what I tell people. And they ask me, they're like, well, is it much different being a community leader and a superintendent? I said, yes, because when you're a superintendent, you have positional authority. Everybody falls under you in a contract.
Yep.
When you're in a room of pastors, when you're in a room of businesses, none of them are contractually obligated to you.
To listen to you.
And they're all leaders in their own right. So you have to be more compelling. You have to really understand their interests and needs. And that's how you lead a community, because they don't have to follow you. They don't have to. And that's the difference. Can you lead when they're not required to follow you? And I think that's the difference between being a community leader and a organizational leader.
With your team, how do y'all have fun with all the stuff going on? What's do y'all prank each other? Like what keeps y'all just light when things get heavy in the district?
That's a really good question, because in an urban district, things are always happening.
There's no fire everywhere, right?
Right. Yeah. There's no autopilot. I am fortunate to have some really great personalities on my cabinet. And I'm probably the most vanilla out of all of them. So I lean on them. They do a lot of fun stuff. We do the normal celebrations and so forth, but we try to do things for our administrators at retreats, and we celebrate everybody. I think that's the thing that separates Temple. If you are a custodian, if you serve shepherd's pot pie, if you drive a bus, if you teach or whatever, we're always going out and celebrating people, and that's what keeps it fun for us. We're very visible, and that's an expectation on my team. If you're on my team, you're going to be part of a civic organization, you're going to be out in the community, you're going to be among the parents, and we are going to celebrate as much as we possibly can. So
Oh.
I think that's what keeps us going. That's how we have fun.
I love it, man. And you know, I'm so thankful that you agreed to come on. Like I said, I've been an admirer from afar. I love hearing your vision for career in tech, and actually, I want to come make a road trip, and I do that. We do that from time to time, just to check and
Oh,
see
would love to have you.
what's happening. And I was in Channel View with Tori Hill and talking
Tori's a
CTE
good guy.
with his kids a week ago, and so it's just something I really love. But um, thank you for being on the show. Thank
You
you
bet.
for your time, and we got to do this again. Midwinter, are you going to come back? And would you come back if?
Sure, I would. Absolutely. Midwinter, I just was part of filming a video for Midwinter yesterday, so I'd be happy to come. I'll be here obviously during Midwinter. I serve on the executive committee at TASA, and look forward. We're going to have a really good session Midwinter. It's really good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for
You
joining
bet.
the
Thank
show.
you. Thanks for what you do. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Excellent. And for our audience out there, if you like what you hear and see, please subscribe, like, share in the comments. Definitely go check out Temple ISD. They got some great things going on. And we'll see you next time on The Path Forward.